Sing louder.
Louder?
Mm-hmm. I just can't even. Let's see how we're doing here. This is nerve-wracking. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh yeah, I'm Alaina. Okay, I'm making Hey everyone, I'm Alaina. We are in the Chou family home kitchen, and today I'm making gourmet Pop-Tarts. So, we don't have any Pop-Tarts at home currently, unfortunately. Not a quarantine necessity for us. My memories of Pop-Tarts are kind of limited. Did not grow up eating them. We never really bought them. We used to get those organic whole grain, like apple turnover things with no icing on them sometimes. Remember, Mama? Like the Amy's ones, I think. And that's pretty much it. But I have had Pop-Tarts, obviously. It's gonna be a 2-day process, I think, because I didn't decide I wanted to make these until about 4 p.m. today. It's now 5:25, so I'm gonna make the pastry, I think today, the filling, and then chill those overnight, continue tomorrow. Really simulating a gourmet makes here, doing everything over the course of several days. So to make the pastry, I'm going to start with a large bowl, scale, going in with 313 grams of AP flour. And this is, I'm pretty sure, just kind of your basic pie dough, cutting butter into flour type situation. I'm not really so confident in the accuracy of this scale, but I've been baking with it all quarantine. Nothing's come out terribly yet, so I feel like it's probably fine. 4 teaspoons, I believe, of granulated sugar. And then a teaspoon of kosher salt. All right, I'm just gonna whisk this together until it's nicely combined. I'm going to grate in my butter. I don't have a box grater here. Got this, so this could take a little while, but we'll see. And I'm going in with 2.5 sticks of cold butter. And we're pretty much trying to cut the butter into this mixture without it melting. And that is how you get flaky layers. We're gonna be here a minute. Trying not to like get my fingernails in the holes of the grater. Once we get down to here, I'm just gonna toss that in. We're a 1/5 of the way there. Moving on. Whew. This should be the next Bon Appetit speed test, grating butter. Like, forget whipping cream. All right, one more stick. My hands are nice and greasy. I'm dedicated to following Claire's recipe, doing it justice. Except I'm not making sprinkles. I decided that was not worth it. I feel like if there's a place to cut corners in this recipe, it is just don't make your own sprinkles. Not that I'm not here for ridiculous baking projects that really don't need to be done, because trust me, I am. I think that's as good as we're gonna get. I've got a heaping mound of butter at this moment in front of me. Perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to use my hands to coat all this butter in flour. Seems like so much butter. It's clumping a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just gonna kind of break it up as best I can. And I'm looking for, you know, that coarse meal. Recipe says that the butter should be the size of lentils, which I guess makes more sense than saying a course meal, because I don't really know what a course meal is. What kind of course meal they're referring to when people say that. We're getting there. This is the point in the videos where usually like you have people around to banter with, but I don't have a Brad Leone next to me and my brother's playing video games, so there's not much I can do there. If we were in the test kitchen, right behind me would be Chris and Andy's station. I freaking wish. Okay, this is looking pretty good. You can see kind of like broken up into these little pebbly bits. I don't want to keep going too much because I don't want the butter to melt. Because the whole point of keeping the butter non-melted is that once it melts in the oven at the super high temp, it creates steam, and that's what creates your layers. So that is why whenever you're making something that's supposed to be flaky, like pie dough or Pop-Tart crust or a laminated dough like croissants, you're always gonna be working with cold butter. That's pretty good. So now I'm going in with ice water, which I have to go get. So I'm gonna set this aside and like wash my hands, clear up all of this butter garbage and be right back. Okay, we are back. I have ice water. I'm going to start kind of streaming this in. And I'm mixing with a fork, and eventually I'm gonna switch to my hands. Again, working with ice water so that everything stays cold. This is gonna be, I think, a pretty dry dough, but it'll sit in the fridge for a while and hydrate, and so that's gonna be fine. Now I'm gonna go in with my hands, roll up the sleeves, and kind of start to knead it, bring it together. Again, not like too much because I don't want it to be tough, and I also don't want to melt all that butter, but this is starting to kind of come together. All right, this is looking good. And so now I'm gonna like scrape that off my hands, and I should wash them, but they're just gonna get dirty again. So I think we're gonna hold off on that. And now I'm going to try to tear a piece of cling wrap, which is never easy. Oh God, see, it's already bunching up. I'm gonna dump my dough onto this cling wrap, and I'm going to press this into a 1/2 inch-ish square, or like, you know, a rectangle. Really get a nice even rectangle. I feel like this is such an important step for later because like the more even your rectangle is now, the more even it'll be when you're rolling it. And we're going for perfection here, folks. Making Claire proud. Just, you know, for security. I feel like Claire would. I really just identify so much with all the former pastry chefs in the test kitchen, like Claire and Sola. But I feel like if you really like the pastry stuff, that says a lot about your personality. Like you liked that kind of sciencey, exacting side of it. Okay, this is looking super nice. Maybe a little thicker than it's supposed to be, but that's okay. Because I'm going to now take, if I can find a rolling pin. I'm going to take this and just further roll it out so that it really gets to the edges of that cling wrap. This is so satisfying. I'm gonna use a dough scraper to square off the edges. This is maybe my favorite kitchen tool, metal dough scraper. It's so useful. All right, and there is the beautiful dough packet. Guys, let me just tell you right now, the number of technical difficulties we've been having is not fun. Namely, iPhone storage, because I'm shooting on an iPhone. So you miss the end of me rolling out some dough, because needless to say, I spent another 5 to 10 minutes trying to get that one sorted out. You missed some great banter. There was an incident with an immersion blender. And then we burnt our burgers on the grill, which was an unrelated disaster. So things are going really well right now. But what you missed was I was making the filling. So in this pot, I had a package of strawberries, frozen strawberries, water, salt, and sugar. Simmered it for 5 to 8 minutes until the strawberries started to get soft and break down. Used the immersion blender for the first time. Took off my white cardigan to do that. Blended it up. Now I'm putting this back on the stove to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then it'll go in the oven. Also, I'm making a half batch of the filling because my brother doesn't like fruit. Trust me, I went on a whole long tangent about that, but I'm gonna make him some sort of Nutella, brown sugar, or something, Pop-Tarts. So only half batch of this. And that's why I only used 1 package of strawberries. Not that you would know because that cut off. So yeah, returning that to simmer. You know, we'll check back in if I have storage at some point in the near future, so. Paper towels are right there. They used to be in the video, come get them. My update is that I've now put the jam in the oven. It's gonna go in there for about an hour. I'll try to film a clip if my phone lets me when it's done and show you what that looks like. In the meantime, you know the part in a lot of the episodes where Alaina comes and makes a drink? We're at that part, except that it's me giving myself a drink. But it's really on brand, on theme, because it's a BA's Best Pina Colada that I had stashed in my freezer. So that's where we're at tonight. It's 6:51. This should have taken
more.
Only a little bit.
Enough room.
Bailey, how old are you?
Not Bailey, Brad.
You know what? That's probably it for me for tonight. Catch you in a second. Okay, so before I just turn this off for the night, I just wanted to show you what this looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's pretty much just a fruit paste. Looks pretty jammy. Looks pretty good. This is gonna chill in the fridge overnight, and we'll come back to it tomorrow to assemble. Good morning. It's day 2 of Alaina Makes Gourmet Pop-Tarts. I've got my coffee, my second mug of the day. I've got my Bon Appetit shirt on. It conveniently came in the mail this morning, so it's perfect. But because it's white and I'm gonna be working with dough and jam and stuff today, and I really don't want to stain this, I am gonna put on an apron, but it's very in theme because it's a sprinkle apron, so I thought it was perfect. Let me just... We left off yesterday with my pastry and my strawberry filling both in the fridge, so those are ready to go, which is great. And now the first thing I'm gonna do today, again, I don't have like someone to shoot ingredients at me and throw them at me from across the test kitchen, so I've got to do it myself. I'm gonna make, I decided, half strawberry and then half like a brown sugar cardamom filling with a coffee icing. Those are some of my favorite flavors. That sounded really good to me. I needed a non-fruit option for my brother who is fruit phobic. What can you do? That's what I'm gonna start with today. I have melted butter. It's like a little less than a tablespoon in this bowl. I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, which I'm never very good at measuring. It's gonna go everywhere. I'm just letting you know now. See, it's already on the counter. I don't know how you measure this without making an absolute mess. Yep. Oh, yep. Got a packed 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar going in. Just gonna... And then I'm gonna do a splash of vanilla, about like a 1/2 teaspoon. A 1/4 teaspoon each of cinnamon and cardamom. I love cardamom coffee. I actually put cardamom and cinnamon in my coffee this morning. It's gonna be like a very kind of dry, sugary mixture, and that's totally fine because it's gonna kind of melt in the oven. Oh, last thing that's gonna go in here is a pinch of salt. Okay, perfect. So that's our brown sugar filling, just a little bit because it's only for a few Pop-Tarts. So I'm gonna set that aside, kind of clear up my workstation, and then we're gonna get to rolling. All right, so here I have my chilled block of dough. You can see it's about 1/2 inch thick, nice and uniform. I'm gonna unwrap this, and I'm going to cut this block of dough in half. And because I'm me, I'm gonna measure it. We're going for precision here in honor of Claire. All right. I'm gonna work with 1/2 at a time. So I'll grab half out of the plastic and the other half is gonna stay in the fridge, chilling while we deal with this. I'm gonna lightly flour my workspace. Grab my rolling pin. Flour that a little bit. And I'm rolling this out to, oh, it's really hard. I'm rolling this out to a 14 by 10 rectangle. And I'm gonna try to keep it pretty squared off and rectangular as I go so that I don't have to trim too much off the sides. See, I might have taken like 20 minutes to get this into a uniform rectangle yesterday, but it's paying off now. And I'm just gonna keep flipping so that I don't get any sticking. Flour as you need, because as that butter starts to melt, it's gonna start to stick more. Let's see how we're doing here. Ooh, disaster. Yeah, definitely not at 10 inches that way yet. And again, just taking my bench scraper and squaring off the edges as I go. I'm gonna go ahead and score a grid. I'm going for 4.5 by 3¼ inches in a 9 by 9 grid. Start by squaring off the edge of this. These scraps are definitely gonna get baked and eaten by me. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this slab of dough while it's still easily movable to a Silpat lined baking sheet. And that way, hopefully, it'll stay nice and squared. 3¼ We're a little short. Guys, it's fine. This is, you know, all part of the process. Hi. Hey. Pop-Tarts. Again. You know what? I'm gonna spare you this and I'll come back once this is all scored out. Here's my dough. It's all been scored into 9 rectangles, and I've docked each piece with a skewer to let the steam out because these are gonna be my tops. So I'm gonna put these in the fridge and repeat the same rolling process, scoring, etc. with the bottom pieces. All right, had some lunch, rolled out the second sheet of dough, which took a while because I had to I just can't even. I'm glad the camera wasn't on is all I'm gonna say, but here we are. This has been chilling for a bit because my dough started to get really soft, but I'm just gonna cut through the lines I scored with a bench scraper. I have 9 relatively perfectly even rectangles. Honestly, could have rolled the dough out on the Silpat and then I wouldn't have had to move it. That's my tip. In true Claire Saffitz fashion, I made a stencil. This was my project this morning. It's makeshift. I didn't buy an extra Silpat to like cut like she does in the video, but this is a little different than the at-home version that they, oh Lord. It's trombone practice time. My brother's in class, so there you go. Sorry, you have to deal with that. There's literally nothing I can do, so. Anyway, this is my stencil. We'll see how it works. I'm really excited for this part because this was my crafting and I really felt like Claire when I was doing that, so made me happy. But now I'm going to take my filling, which I finished last night. I just added some vanilla and lemon to it. I'm going to try to spread an even layer of filling within this border. It's working pretty well. It's pretty satisfying. Let's see if this works. Ta-da! Oh my God, it's so satisfying. Look how perfect that is. It's so perfect. That's awesome. I'm gonna do this on however many more I can get out of this half batch of filling I made, and the rest I'm gonna use my brown sugar filling. This has easily been the best part of the process so far. I'm gonna go in with filling number 2. I'm just gonna use my hands because it's kind of a crumbly mixture to press the filling as best I can into these little boxes. Guys, literally look at this. You can refer to me as Claire now, from now on. Thumbnail. I'm going to make sure I can move each one around now. This is nerve-wracking. And then I'm gonna brush the sides of each one with a beaten egg yolk. I have in front of me the tops that are nicely chilled and that are going to be placed on top and sealed, and then they can bake, finally. I have the oven preheating to 300 right now. Oh man, some leakage. SOS. Hop back on board. So I'm gonna go in with my egg wash now, just around the edges, watching out for the filling. Now that all the egg wash is on, I'm going to carefully take these top guys and lay them on top, like so. Pressing down the sides and then taking a dowel and using it to press and seal right up against where the filling starts. Guys, this is so satisfying. Okay, I popped these in the freezer just for a few minutes because they were getting really soft, but now I'm going to transfer them so I can evenly space them and just cut off any little bits of excess to make them perfect. And then they're gonna chill for a little while longer until they're super set and firm so that they can bake and not explode. All right, it's finally time. We're sticking these in the oven. Look how beautiful they look. These have been chilling in the freezer. They're nice and firm. Fingers crossed, everything goes to plan. They're going in the 300-degree oven for around a half hour. And I only have a half hour until I have a call, so hopefully they're done by then. About an hour and a half and 1 therapy session later, we're back. And look what I have. They look so good. There's just a little bit of leakage with some of the brown sugar ones, but they look beautiful. So next, I'm going to be making the frosting. I'm gonna make 2 kinds, but we'll start with the same base. So I have a bowl. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh yeah. I have the egg white from my egg yolk earlier. That's going into the bowl with a pinch of salt. And now I'm gonna whisk this up until it's foamy. Now that this is foamy, I'm adding in little by little 2 cups of powdered sugar. If you hear any loud noises, that's because Bailey is attempting to make dinner.
Attempting?
Mm-hmm. And how's it going?
We're on recipe number 2.
First one didn't work out.
No.
It's all right, the night is still young. I'm definitely gonna need to thin this out. And add a tiny bit of cold water. Just a drop, because a tiny bit goes a long way, and we actually want this to be pretty thick at the beginning stage because we're gonna pipe it. It's a nice frosting. It'll be pipeable for sure. I'm gonna add in a drop of vanilla and give that a whisk. Now I'm gonna divide this between this bowl and another one, because to one of them I'm gonna add a bit of coffee before I go in and pipe. So into my coffee frosting, I'm just gonna add a drop of this instant espresso powder dissolved into just a tiny bit of water. And I'm just gonna add a little bit to start for the one that I'm using to pipe my borders, because I want it to still be pretty pipeable. Into the coffee one, I'm also gonna add a dash of cinnamon and a dash of cardamom, just to play up those flavors. I'm gonna whisk this up and then grab my piping bag. It's go time. I'm not using real pastry bags because I had to make 2 and I didn't want to dirty 2 pastry bags, honestly, so I'm just using a little Ziploc bag. I'm going to grab these scissors and snip off just a little bit off the tip, and I'm going to pipe a border around each Pop-Tart. Intense concentration.
Yeah, onions are really getting to me.
I never cried onions.
I don't cry, I just hurt.
Just you wait.
For what?
You'll cry. It starts with the hurting.
Hurt leads to anger.
There's those ones, now the brown sugar. And also because of me, I'm gonna take a toothpick and make sure all the corners are straight, but that's just me. So I added a little bit more instant espresso into this mixture to make it thinner, and then I added a little bit of lemon juice into the white frosting. And now it is flood consistency, so I can go ahead and spread it onto my Pop-Tarts. I'm just gonna spread it out to that line that we piped. I wish I had my mini offset spatula. I know it's ridiculously big for the job, but it's necessary. But before it sets, I'm gonna take my sprinkles, which are not homemade, and I'm just gonna do a nice little sprinkle. It looks so perfect. And we have our first Pop-Tart. It only took 2 days. And look, it matches my sprinkles. This is on inside out. All right. Okay, so this is what they look like. And now I decided for the brown sugar ones, instead of doing sprinkles on top, once the icing sets, I'm gonna go ahead with a darker coffee frosting and do a drizzle on top. And now let's just repeat that for the rest of them. I'm very pleased. This might be my favorite thing I've ever made. It's definitely one of the most fun things I've ever tackled. They look so perfect, which is just making my heart happy, and I feel like Claire would be proud, which was the goal here. We've got strawberry over here, brown sugar, cardamom coffee over here, and I think we're gonna break into one. Mama, do you wanna come try a strawberry one? Yeah. Now it really matches. Ready? Yep. Flaky. Look at that. Should we try this? Yes. Oh my god. Good? So good. Do you want to try it, Daddy?
Yeah.
Come in the video.
Oh, it's a video. Video.
He's a natural. My fruit phobic friend.
I like that icing.
Good, right?
Frosting's really good.
We got Bailey to try one. Should we break into one of these?
Oh yeah.
You'll like that. Flakes are falling.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy.
That's really
Success! I'd like to thank Claire Saffitz, Bon Appetit, my family, my friends,
good. Really good.
and the immersion blender. That is it. That is the end of Gourmet Makes, a 2-day endeavor. We made it, folks. Very, very pleased. Very happy.
Can I get my kitchen back?
Just for a little bit. Signing off. And we match.